$70,000 to spend on an FD, you know, especially when, like, I mean, I'm not one to hate on rotaries, but like, it's gonna break a lot. What is up, Rap Potential YouTube? Welcome to today's video. We are considering some options, and if you saw last week's video driving the RX-8, this one's gonna be just like that. We're gonna drive, we're gonna talk about a few things, and just some of the things that are going through our heads, because we both have a lot of cars, and it's hard to get around to all the cars, and honestly, it'd be nice to have one really nice one sometimes and not have to worry about all the rest of the junk. So we are currently driving my 2006 Corvette Z06. This is like the ultimate dream car for me as a kid, and I finally got it. And if you go back on the channel, I made a video about kind of my like journey to get it and how I save money and this, that, and the other, and I don't do much with it on the channel. I literally just bought this car for me, and it's like my own personal little trophy, and I drive it around all the time. Put 22,000 miles on it in 2 years. So that's more than probably 80% of all Corvette owners have on their Corvettes total. Like, they just don't have 22,000 miles on their car because they're so rare and just so hard to get, you know, Corvettes. So anyways, this is a topic for Justin and I because, well, I have sentimental attachments to a lot of my cars, which is kind of why I have a bunch of them. You know, I have like my first truck still. I've got my Jeep CJ7, which I bought when I was 16, and you know, like, my family kind of has always been more sentimental about things, and they're not just, you know, not like in a materialistic trying to be rich, keep up with the Joneses kind of way, but like, you build a story with your car, and that's what adds value to the car but doesn't increase the price, right? Like, this Corvette's worth more to me than it is to a lot of other people because of the trips I've taken in it, the people I've met, and that sort of thing. And that's where it gets hard to justify selling something, you know, because you can't replace all those memories with stuff like that. But the other thing you got to look at too is the performance value and what you're using the car for, you know. So like, my RX-8 is completely expendable, and I don't care about it. And if I put it in the wall, I put it in the wall. But it keeps me from ruining this car, which is why I have that one. But it also keeps me from maintaining this car because I spend money on the RX-8 and not on this, you know. So anyways, that's kind of
the constant debate as a car guy. Surely we're not the only ones that have this debate. I know I have this debate in my head once a week, whether I should sell all my stuff and then find the you know, the one dream car that I want or whatever, chase the one thing. So I don't know, surely you guys, some of you guys have had this feeling too, if you're in the position of us where you have a bunch of budget friendly cars because that's what you got into, and whatever else, for whatever reason, you start collecting one thing or another. So the kind of question we're talking about is, do you get the one awesome car that you've always dreamed of having and a beater, you know, Ford Focus or a Ranger, or, you know, your basic basic pickup truck to daily drive, to do your whatever tasks in, and then you've got your really nice thing that you put all your effort, your money to maintain, to make it perfect, to do any mods you ever want to do to it. Or the flip side of the coin, kind of where we're both sitting now, is we both have, you know, Eric's got his Vet, I've got my 135. That's kind of like the nice car, but we wouldn't say we don't maintain them. We maintain them, but you struggle to do the things you maybe want to do someday to them because you're maintaining a fleet of other cars, because you've got your retro, your classic cruiser, your convertible, and your beater truck, and your nice pickup truck, and the trailer to tow the track car to the track. So that's the kind of debate we're having. Yeah, and like, I'd love to put heads and a cam and a Pro Charger and slicks and like make my Corvette really fast and fun. But like, to do that, I'm gonna have to sell 3 cars, you know, not only to afford it, but just like to be able to put all that time into this, because you know, like, you have to. It's not always just the money question. Yeah, you got to equalize your time between your stuff to keep them all happy. You know, not that cars have feelings, but lots of them just leaves. You know, and exactly that too. Like, the RX-8, when I drive it on the back roads, if there's a stick in the road, I plow it over. In the Corvette, if there's a leaf in the road, I like go slow and don't want to scratch the front of my car. You know, so that's the other caveat to having something that's super nice. You know, where Justin and I were talking, and you guys will see or have seen in the track day video from last week, I board slid my RX-8
worst noises you could ever hear as a car owner. And if I did that in my Corvette, I would have like been distraught for the rest of the day. I just totaled my $40,000 car, and you know, like it's can you justify having that much money tied up in something and then have that much money to go to fix it if you break it?
Yeah.
You know, you have to accept the risk. So it's always been a troublesome topic for us.
When you drag the RX-8, who cares?
Yeah.
You're not worried about it.
Sympathy,
and then yeah, you can go out and push that extra limit, that extra 10% on the track, because you're not worried about it. So it's like, then are you having more fun in having that dream car, or are you missing out on the dream car?
Yeah. So, and that's the other flip side of it too. You know, it's like on the track in the RX-8, you know, a set of brake rotors and tires and everything, consumable parts for a cheaper car are exactly that. They're way cheaper. So like I can do tires, brake pads, you know, brake fluid flush, the whole deal on the RX-8 for $1,500, we'll say. I couldn't put one set of 200 treadwear tires on this Corvette for less than $2,000. Like, there are 325s in the back, 275s in the front. A good 200 treadwear in that size tire is going to be $500 for one tire. You know, so then it's like, okay, well, you got to buy that at the end of the year too. You know, which I guess you wouldn't have the cheap cars to maintain, but at the same time,
that's why you had to sell everything else.
Yeah,
and that's why you can't.
That's
why you can't afford to have the Corvette and take it to the track and do all these things with the other cars, or do all the mods you want.
Because it's just, you know, it's different. I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' philosophies. I wish we could make this like a conversation between all of us, because I don't know. I'm always torn. I would love to have an FD RX7 that's super decked out and like low seat and scoot it back and like build it for me, you know, so I could fit it, because I think those cars are gorgeous, you know, and they don't drive that great, but like that car would just be awesome. But like I don't have $70,000 to spend on an FD, you know, especially when like, I mean, I'm not one to hate on rotaries, but like it's gonna break a lot, and if a headlight cover flies off on the interstate, I'm out $500 because headlight covers are freaking expensive for an FD, you know. Whereas like this Corvette doesn't have headlight covers and they don't fly off, so it's just an expense you don't have to worry about, you know. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think, and I don't know. I've had the thought to sell a lot of my stuff and buy an FD. I think it would be a great video build series for the channel. Not that FDs aren't. I think FDs are the most popular built rotary car out there. Like everyone has FDs. You know, you look at all the big YouTubers. TJ Hunt has a bad, awesome FD. You know, Adam LZ was gonna build one. You know, Tommy F has a sweet FD, and like those aren't crazy builds. They're not. You know, like the rally car, I flipped it upside down in my garage and restored the bottom of the car. Like when you buy an FD, they're already nice. You don't have to do that. So it's hard to like, in my head, there's not much content to build one. Like if, you know, I don't need to rotisserie restore a $70,000 car. It's already perfect. Like what do you do that to? You know what I mean? To like make content. And I'm not going to drift an FD or like maybe take one to a track and beat on it a little bit, but it's going to get heat soaked and probably blow up. But like at the same time, you know, all the mods to get the car to that point would be cool. But I just think the FDs are overplayed, and I mean Corvettes definitely are too. There's a bajillion thousand horsepower Corvettes out there, but at the same time, the reason that there's a bajillion thousand horsepower Corvettes and not a bunch of 1,000 horsepower FDs is because the FDs just
that
And-
sentimental dream car value to it. Like
Yeah.
when I get that M3, I could have bought one of those already. Like definitely with the cars I have, I could have had that in my fleet, but it just like wasn't the right time, and we didn't make it work yet. And now I'm just waiting. Like I could have that now. Do I sell my E36 and I dump my RX-8? My E36 M3 is my budget Thrasher track car. Do I sell that and I have my E46 that's a little bit nicer? I can take it to the track. I want to take that car to the track. I want to build a club sport spec, but even though it's not that wildly expensive, the things I want to do to it are going to cost a lot of money, and then it becomes this really, really special thing that's less replaceable. And now there's a bunch of E46s out there, but you know, the color combo I want, the interior club sport spec I want to put together, it becomes a little more irreplaceable. And then that's the dilemma I'm sitting at my desk today. I'm sitting at my desk looking out at my cars, and I'm just thinking, you know, I could have an M3 parked there. I really could. It would only take selling like 2 things, and I got my M3 and I can start doing stuff. But then I'm in that dilemma where it's like, can I thrash it and not care about it? I live on a rock driveway now, like Eric, and you gotta it takes extra care. Eric washes this Corvette every time it comes up the driveway.
Literally every time I drive it, I wash it.
Like that's a whole nother level of commitment once you get that to your car, and you're ready, because you want to take care of it. You want to keep it that way forever. So the constant debate.
Yeah, I don't know. I have, just like I say in other videos, I have no problem when I buy, and we're all guilty of it. You buy a project car and it kicks your nice daily driver outside because your $200 Datsun 510 needs to be in the garage, right? Sat outside for 40 years, got to put in the garage. Well, I have no problem parking my stuff outside. Like my rotary truck used to be a lot more red when I bought it, and the paint's faded off of it. You know, my Chevy pickup truck, I kept it inside when I lived with my parents, but you know, it sat outside. And like they've got their issues, and I love, you know, seeing them go to dust per se just makes me sad, because if I'd only had one car, I could have kept it perfect. I could have afforded to build a nice shop to keep it in. I could have had the most badass one-car garage, you know, sick, heated floors, TVs, the whole deal, because I'm not building 15 cars, you know,
and that's a whole nother totally plausible, fun option.
Yeah.
Right? Dedicating a whole space to this one awesome car you have, and
you know, like carpeted floors. Oh yeah, it could be super sick.
So clearly, we haven't done these things yet. So I think we've kind of leaned the way, you know, that we are, where we have the multiple cars for every situation. But like, what do you think? Like, what would you do? I'd love to hear some more discussion and feedback, because surely we're not the only ones who've thought about this.
Yeah, and if you've done this, like if you've taken,
did you go the other way?
You're like, say if you had a 240 and a and a this and that, and you sold them all and bought a C6 Corvette for your drift car, and like you have a nice drift car now or whatever, like, or a track car, or this and the other. You know, like, is that a viable option that you enjoy? You know what I mean?
Because you know somebody. He kind of did this, right?
Yeah,
he didn't have a fleet of cars, but he had his projects.
Yeah.
And sold his projects and bought a 986 or a 987 Cayman.
Yeah. Cayman S.
Really
beautiful
nice
car.
Perfect blue, black interior. I drooled all over this car. Really nice Cayman S. And
sold it because it was boring.
He doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Like that he answered that question. He went down that road to answer it for himself.
Yeah.
So have any of you guys done that?
You should have kept his RX7s because they were tinkerable. He had an FD before, and badass FD, and then sold all that stuff and bought a Porsche because the Porsche is mechanically everything is better about a Porsche than an FD. Like, I'm sorry. Besides maybe the looks, but like
those cars are sexy too.
Yeah, and they look great. You know, a Cayman S looks great, but like performance, oil changes, stuff that go wrong, heat, you know, management on the track, comfort, good AC, you know, the whole deal, part availability, you know, headlight covers don't fly off. You know, that makes that Porsche way better. But yet, and I would say he drove it faster on the track, you know, and he might not like me talking about him in this video, but whatever. And it was boring because car guys like to tinker, and I, you know, if I only had my Corvette, I would probably be bored because it honestly wouldn't brake often enough, or it would make a bajillion horsepower, and that would be the thing, is it would just be, what's 1 more pound to boost?
Because you tinkered on it so much.
Yeah.
You know, is it even like a fun
and then
car
I
to
ruined
street
it,
car
and then
to
like
take
I
out?
can't drive it anywhere because it's got a massive boost cam in it, and it's loud, and the AC doesn't work, and like it heat soaks on the interstate doing pulls, and like, you know, and then it becomes, you know, I drive down my rock road on slicks and just rock chip the heck out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a slippery slope, and I don't know. I hope this video, you know, entertains some of you. I really want to see the comments because I want to know what you guys think.
For sure.
You know, about that, because I have the same debate, but I'm a little more, like we said at the beginning, sentimental to my stuff. And I know Justin and I have had the conversation about buying an E46 M3 probably 3 to 5 times a year the past 2.5 years.
Like
3
very
years.
seriously, like
Yeah.
I'm about ready to post all my stuff for sale just so I can get one, even though I know I'm gonna have one. You know, even if I don't sell my stuff, it'll come a couple years down the road.
Yeah.
Once the timing's right, but it just keeps getting pushed off and pushed off, pushed off. Now I got to build a shop, so now it's another couple years away. When I almost bought one 3 months.
Should've bought that
3
silver
months ago. There was a steel. This thing's a monster.
Dude, it's so good. I've never really I'm gonna point us this way a little bit. Never really done a good sitter in this thing. You'd probably just do it real easy. Clutch. Got him. Clutch has got 80-something thousand miles on it. It's a good car. Alright guys, well that's our, I don't know what we're going to call this little talking driving series. I really enjoy doing it because we have a lot of these things that we like to talk about between ourselves, and I bet a lot of them are applicable to you. So if you have good topics, comment them below. If you want to see us drive, eventually when his cars start coming down here, we'll start driving those. Maybe we'll do 2 cars and like might call each other, mic ourselves in between them so we can kind of rip, you know, and do that. But we really enjoy coming and talking, making these videos and uploading them and seeing your comments and just getting the interaction. So with that, any questions, comment below. We're going to turn around and go look at our number 11s because this thing leaves a wide patch. And we will see you guys in the next one. That was like 2,000 RPM and it just popped the tire loose like it's nothing.
Nice.
So, see you guys in the next one. Keep it rad.
Peace.
That's the other thing. What about boats? We don't play with boats. We could get boats and go play around on the river, like these little jet boat things, you know?
Yeah, little jet. Or I want to get a pair of jet skis. Like get some stand-up jet skis.
Dude, stand-ups are so cool. I'm really bad at them.
I've never tried, but
but I think they're cool.
I've watched one of Dominic's dad's friends. Always had him up there when we were out on the lake.
Yeah, or one of those the flyer chicken thing that MLZ has, that 2-seater one.
Oh yeah,
see that?
yeah.
I've never seen one of those before in my life, but that's so cool. I'm into weird and obscure stuff. If I lived in a place where it would snow, I'd have a cool vintage snowmobile.
For sure. Yeah, I thought about that though. Down here, there's lakes. We could.
Yeah,
and I don't want to
the Duck River's right over there,
leave
so
a boat
all we need is
somewhere.
a jet ski.
Nice.
Oh, dude.
Nice.
Look at my shift. Look at my shift.
Second.
Yeah,
Nice.
boy. Dude, Tim's gonna ask me about that. My neighbor, he'll be like, who loves that patch of rubber out on West Robinson Road?